Hey guys, this is Cole with K-Town Rentals. I'm going to give you a rundown on our ATX boat. So first thing you guys are going to want to do after you leave the no wake zone, leaving from the docks, just want to make sure you pull off the buoys from the sides of the boat. There'll be one at the front and one at the back. Just want to pop them off. And stow them underneath the seat so they don't fall off. Next thing, we'll go over the basic controls from the driver's seat. First off, you got your steering wheel, pretty standard. Turn left to go left when you're moving forward. Turn right to go right while you're moving forward. An important thing to keep in mind when you're driving this boat is without any momentum, you're not going to be able to steer very well. And also in reverse, you can't usually steer at all. The boat usually tends just to pull to the right. So when you're docking or just moving around out on the lake, just keep that in mind. Beside you to your right, you have your gear shift and throttle. Okay. Center position here with the lever down is in neutral. To go put it into forward gear, pull up the little lever, push it forward slowly until you hear it kick into gear. And then obviously the further you push it down, the more throttle it's going to give. Bring it back, it'll pop back into neutral. And then same thing for reverse, pull up the lever, move it back till you hear it kick into gear. Same thing, the farther you push it down, the more gas it's going to give it in reverse. And down here you have your safety tether. Okay, so it's recommended that the driver attaches this around your leg or something like that. Not everybody uses it, but it's there if you need it. Okay, so all that does, if you were to stand up or run away from the driver's seat, it's going to pop this little switch out and it's going to stop the boat. So now we're going to go over the screen and some of our switches here. When you first head out, it's automatically going to be set on your speedometer. So this shows you how fast you're going. On the right side, it shows you your RPM. Left side shows you your fuel level. On the far right, that's what your cruise control is set to, if that is turned on. Below that is your taps level. Up here, you have your volume up or instant mute if you want to immediately stop your sound. Top left shows you your actual fuel percentage. And here is your depth gauge. We'll talk about the depth on this boat a little bit later, but that's where you can see that. Down the left-hand corner here, we'll bring up your other options. You can go into your stereo system. Okay, this is where you're going to be able to add a phone or whatever you have for Bluetooth. Next one down over here is your other switches. So if you guys are using the heater at all, that's where you're going to find that. Some of your lights controls and stuff like that. Next you have your vessel. So this is just your basic information on the engine. So here's your water temperature. That's the actual water temperature of the lake. Engine temperature, oil pressure, air temperature, all that kind of stuff. A little rundown on how to work the stereo. When you go into the stereo option here, most likely going to see a black screen. It's going to say stereo is turned off. Just on the top here, you're going to put stereo on. It's going to bring up your Bluetooth. You're going to hit your connect device, connect to your phone, and away you go. Next, we'll run over the cruise control really quick. There's two ways to set it. You can use the screen itself or the controls behind the wheel. On the screen, what you're going to see is where the cruise is currently set, up on the top right corner there. If you want to set it, you're going to press the button here. It's going to turn orange. Since we're moving a little bit, it automatically set it to what our speed was. Okay, if you want to increase or decrease that, just go up and down. Alright, so it's going to work similar to a vehicle. Once you get to that speed, you're not going to go any faster. So if you were to set it to your, say, 10 miles per hour, you'll put the boat into gear, give it some gas. And once it hits that 10 miles an hour, you can actually lay the throttle right down and it won't go beyond that. If you want to stop, you can pull the throttle back and it will stop. As I mentioned, the cruise control can also be set behind the wheel here. This is going to be your cruise off and on. This is going to be increase your speed, decrease your speed. On the right side, you also have some music controls for your volume up, down, and mute, and also your track skip features. In relation to the taps, all that is your plate in the middle of the boat in the back. The higher you put your taps, the lower the plate's going to go into the water. The higher that the number is, the lower the plate will be. The lower the number is, the higher the plate's going to be. So that's going to adjust the pitch of the boat a little bit. It'll help you get onto plane. It'll also help bring up the front end of the boat a bit if you're getting lots of water splash and things like that. The easiest way to get a feel for the taps, as I was speaking about, just to feel it out, honestly. However, I would recommend to run it around 2 or 3 if you're just cruising. That has a nice level for the boat and it will be up on plane quite easily. To be able to adjust that taps, there's a little switch on your throttle here. Pushing the switch up is going to increase your taps number. Pushing the switch down is going to decrease the taps. Now the switch is down here. This is a basic video. You guys aren't going to be towing or anything like that, so please do not touch any of these switches. Alright, except for this one here is your lights. If you do need your lights, you can navigate that here from here, turning them on. Alright, in the middle position is turning them off. You also have your bilge pump. This boat has an automatic bilge pump, so you shouldn't need to use that. If you do feel like the boat is taking some water on, you can manually turn that on and it will pump the water out. All right, next one here is your blower. That's just going to turn a fan on in the engine bay, so if you do turn the boat off, turn it back on. It is recommended to flip this blower on for 5 or 10 seconds before you start the engine. That's just going to get any fuel fumes out of the engine bay. Down here is your engine start and stop. Stop the engine, press stop. To restart it, you'll press the power button. Okay, this light will turn yellow. You will type in the code that you'll be given on the day of your rental. The light will turn green and it will beep. Then you will push and hold the start button until the engine starts. The left side here, this is your horn. Now, an important thing to remember on this boat is a tow boat or a surf boat, so your prop is actually right underneath of the boat. With that being said, you're gonna have to be very careful to avoid shallow water, rocks, weeds, all that kind of stuff. All right, safe way to do it is keep out from shore at least a couple 100 feet. There are a couple other shallow areas of the lake that we will tell you about on the day of your rental. However, it's very important that you keep an eye out when other people are on the boat. Just look out in front, make sure you don't see anything that you can possibly hit when you're moving. As mentioned earlier, there is also your depth gauge. Okay, so you want to keep an eye on that. You never want that to go to below 15 meters. If you do, the number will actually turn red. There's no alarm or anything, but that will let you know that you're in shallow water. Best thing you want to do is back out of that situation, get yourself in some deeper water, and continue going from there. So basically, just keep an eye out, make sure you can't see the bottom. You know, if there's enough water, you won't be able to see the bottom very clearly. That's an easy way to try and keep yourself out of trouble. Now also, if you are just sitting and kind of floating around, be aware that the boat will drift on the water. Alright, so you don't want to be, sitting and not paying attention, get yourself into shallow water or get close to some rocks. Obviously that's going to be a bad place to be in. Alright, so if you are just sitting and floating, make sure that you keep an eye out of where you're floating to and make sure you move the boat before you run into any trouble. Now the next thing is more important if you have a lot of people on board, but even with a few people, it is important to try and have the weight balance fairly evenly on the boat. That will just keep it nice and flat and avoid any issues from there as well. Okay, now let's say it's the time that your rental has come to an end. You're going to make your way back towards the docks. Again, once you get into this no wake zone, there's a white buoy out there. You got to make sure you slow the boat right down, come in nice and slow. Start looking at the docks to see where you're going to try and dock the boat. So if you want to dock on the right side, you're going to make sure you get up, take your buoys out, attach your buoys to whatever side of the boat that you're planning to dock at. Okay, so you're going to attach one to the front, one to the back. Okay, just drop it over the side. Get it close to about where the dock is going to be. Okay, there's multiple ways to attach it. Easiest way I do it is wrap it around. One time all the way around, come back over the top, go back underneath, and then you just take it, flip it over, make a little loop, and pull it tight. Once you have your buoys or your fenders on the side you're going to dock at, one in the front, one at the back, you're going to make your way towards the dock. Just come in nice and slow, under 5 kilometers an hour. You want to be in that kind of 3-ish range. Spot where you want to dock the boat. Okay, you want to come into the dock at roughly a 45-degree angle. Okay, so this is your dock. You want to come in slightly like this. Come in nice and slow. Okay, if you need, when you're coming in, you don't want to just have it forward the whole time, just holding it there. Okay, you'll get going too fast. You're gonna want to kick it into gear, pull it out, get the boat going in the direction you want, kick it back in, pull it back out. It's just gonna keep your speed nice and slow so you don't come in too fast. Now there should be somebody there at the dock that's going to be there to catch you. They're going to wave at you to come in. If there's nobody there yet, wait out from the docks and don't try to dock by yourself. Wait for somebody to be there to call you up. And again, I can't stress it enough, there's no such thing as too slow. Come in a very slow, roughly 45-degree angle. When you get close to the dock, you can pop it into reverse. We'll let you know what to do depending on how fast you're coming in. But again, very slow. As long as somebody's there to catch you, you shouldn't have any issues. Now when you are coming in, say you get yourself in a little bit of trouble, you get too sideways, or you feel like you're coming in too fast, or whatever the case is, don't be afraid to just put the boat in reverse and back out of the situation. Yeah, and then try it again. Now as I said earlier, this boat does not steer very well in reverse or at all, really. And it does pull to the right, so it is easier to dock on your right side or your driver's side. You can dock on the left, but if there's a spot to do it on the right, I recommend to do so. Okay, so we're just going to go into the dock and give you a little bit of what it actually going to look like. It is pretty windy today, so that makes it a little bit more challenging as well. I'm just going to come in nice and slow, let the boat float, and then into gear, out of gear, roughly a 45-degree angle. But not even on the gas, just let the boat float right up. Once you get close, kick it into reverse. Done. Alright guys, that concludes our basic video. Please let me know if you have any questions before you head out. I hope you have a good time.